Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we have another CSEC economics video for you. So today we're going to conclude section 5, the financial sector. So this is going to be the last topic in section 5, the financial sector. And so this section, the sub-objective would be to explain the differences among the types of financial instruments. So this might be a relatively shorter video than usual. So we have to explain the types of financial instruments, and the list that they have here. You have the Treasury Bills, notes or bonds, corporate bonds, municipal bonds, equity securities, share and stock certificates, and certificates of deposit. So we're going to try and explain what those are, and of course the differences would be in their definitions. And so we're going to turn to the textbook for the most part for most of these explanations. And so we have the financial instruments. Companies and governments, through the central bank, issue financial instruments. So that's the central bank is what issues the financial instruments for the government. Companies do that on their own. These instruments provide a means for other companies and individuals to participate in business activities by lending or investing and earning an income. So this is a means for common folk to invest in the government or invest in certain companies, businesses, most likely the public limited companies. So you use the financial instruments to be a part of the overall business. You buy your shares, your bonds, your stocks, all those types of financial instruments. And even decision making. So once you own a certain amount of shares, you can be a decision maker based on the company. So you can be part of the annual general meeting, and you can vote for different, different positions within that overall business structure. These instruments are called securities. Securities are certificates proving entitlement to debt repayment or part ownership of a company. So what they're saying here is that you can either do what you call a debt. You can do debt financing as a company. You can do debt financing, or you can do equity financing. With debt financing, that means that you are simply going to repay the person who lent you the money through whatever instrument they use. Whether if it's a bond, something like an IOU, then you have to repay them, and then from there, that's it for them. They're not no part owner of the business. That's debt equity financing. That debt financing. Then equity financing is where you buy shares and you have part ownership in that company. So that's two different ways in which a company can obtain some capital. You can have debt to debt or to equity. Debt financing or equity financing. Debt securities are a loan to the business or the government. So normally we're talking about in the form of bonds, where the bond, when it comes due, you have to pay the people with interest, and that's it for them. Business done. They don't own any part of the business, or of course they don't own any part of the government. Equity security constitutes part ownership of the company. Figure 15.3, this one right here, shows the difference between debt and equity securities. So you have debt securities, a loan to the issuer, principal and interest to be repaid. Example, bonds, debentures, notes and bills. So treasury notes, treasury bills, all those are examples of debt financing or debt securities. Equity securities, then we have ownership in the company, entitled to dividends and voting rights in the case of ordinary shares. Example, company stocks. So those are the two main ways in which companies can finance themselves, or you can invest in companies and governments through debt securities or equity securities. Types of securities are treasury notes, bills, and bonds. These are debt securities issued by the government, and that's, as I say, through the central bank. Hence, the use of the term treasury bills. All right, treasury bills. So treasury bills, treasury notes, bonds. Bills and bonds represent loans to the government. The buyer of the bill or bond is giving the government a loan. Treasury bills are short-term loans, usually for 91 or 182 days. The Bank of Guyana, this is an example, the Bank of Guyana issue 364-day treasury bills. Bonds are long-term loans of 5, 10, 20, or 30-year periods. Government bonds carry a lower rate of interest than corporate bonds. These securities are considered low risk as the government does not default on repayment. They are a source of finance to the government. So apart from taxes and different fees and those kind of things, the government can gain some financing through the sale of treasury notes, treasury bills, treasury bonds. And as you can see, the difference between the treasury bills and the treasury bonds is simply the time frame. The treasury bills are short-term loans, usually for 91 to 180 days, whereas the bonds are long-term loans from 5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 10, 20, 30 year period. So that's the key difference between the treasury bills and the treasury bonds. The term and loans, they're all loans, they're all debt type securities, but it's about the length of time. And here what they say, the government bonds tend to be lower risk because government don't default on their bonds. But of course that might not be true because, you know, some government, when they fail in like Greece and those places, they can default on bonds, and you know, that's a problem right there for you who would have invested. You lost all the money just like that. Then we have the corporate bond. Corporate bonds are long-term debt security issued by companies or corporations. A bondholder is a creditor who has a claim against the company equal to the value of the bond. Once the claim of the bondholder is paid off, the bondholder has no claim on the company. Corporate bonds are a source of finance for the company. So this again is a bond, and it's a long-term debt security. And like I said, debt security means once they repay you the principal or the amount you initially had plus interest, that's it. They don't owe you anything anymore. But for equity securities, you have part ownership in that business. Then you have municipal bonds. Municipal is just simply the more local government. So municipal bonds represent the debt of a municipality or other government unit other than the central government. It is a source of finance and is a loan made by the buyer to the government unit. The funds received from the sale of these bonds are used to finance community projects such as road building, drain and park maintenance. Some municipal bonds might entitle the holder to tax credit. All right, so that's the municipal bond. That's on a lower, it's government still, but on a more local level. That's the municipal bond. Then you have the equity securities. And so equity securities, these are certificates of stock that represent ownership in the company. A stockholder is a part owner of the company. For example, if a company has 100,000 shares of stock and you own 1,000, you own 1% of the company. As a part owner, you are entitled to part of the profits, which are paid in the form of dividends. As the holder of ordinary shares, you also have a right to vote in the selection of the management. So that's what we're talking about here with the equity security. So normally they're in the form of stocks, and so you actually are part owner of that business. Unlike debt financing, where you don't get any ownership, they pay you off and that's it. Equity financing, equity securities are those that give you a piece of the pie, part ownership for that company, and you're entitled to dividends and some voting rights in the annual general meetings. We need to look at the shares and stock certificates and the certificates of deposit. And so the share and stock certificates are just as the name says. They are certificates that show how many shares you own in a company. They're literally certificates. When you buy shares in a company, they actually give you a certificate with the amount of shares that you bought and sometimes the value of those shares, so that you can use that to sell shares to other persons if you so desire, sell or give them to other persons. You have to present that certificate in order to lay claim to those shares or stocks. So you have a little rough example right here, the stock certificate. So it's a certificate showing the amount of shares or stocks that you own when they were purchased, things like that. Also, you have the certificate of deposit. Now what this is, when you are at a bank and you can deposit your money. Now if you put them in a fixed deposit for a certain period of time, then the bank would give you a certain amount of interest on that. You cannot touch it until the time is up. Meanwhile, the bank can use that money to, further let loan other persons and things like that. So that's the certificate of deposit. It shows proof that that is what you deposit X amount of money in the bank, and so they are going to hold you to that, and you hold them to that, and you can get your interest later on. So a certificate of deposit, or CID, is a product offered by banks and credit unions that provide an interest rate premium in exchange for the customer agreeing to leave a lump sum of deposit untouched for a predetermined period of time. Almost all consumer financial institutions offer them, although it's up to each bank with city terms it want to offer. So again, you go into a bank, you say, okay, I want to deposit $10,000 and I'm going to leave it there for, let's say, 5 years, 2 years, whatever. The bank going to give you a certificate to show that this is what you have there. And so you're going to give you interest, of course, premium interest, if you follow through with what you promised and you don't touch it. So that's the certificate of deposit right there. And so that covers all of the financial instruments that are floating around in the financial sector that can be used to help governments, businesses, persons to invest in companies, invest in the government and things like that. You can go two routes. You can either go the debt finance route or the debt security route or the equity security route, whichever one you so desire. All right, so that's it. That's the end of section 5 for CSEC economics. So section 5 is over, done, dusted. And so naturally, we are going to be going on to section 6 in the next video. And so section 6, the economic management, policies and goals. We're going to roll into that next time. All right, so you want to know when this video drops for section 6. What you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to know when Learn SKN drops a next CSEC economics video. All right, thanks for watching, thanks for listening.